Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this January 14, 2020 meeting of the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Supervisors Frost.
Here.
Natoli.
Here.
Peters.
Here.
Suna.
Here.
Kennedy.
Here.
And you have a quorum. This meeting of the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors is cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast, Consolidated Communications, and AT&T UVerse cable systems. The meeting is closed caption and is webcast at sacmetrocable.tv. Today's meeting will be repeated Friday, January 17th at 6 p.m. on Channel 14. This meeting is also broadcast live on KUBU Radio on 96.5 FM. A DVD copy is available for checkout from any local library branch. Members of the audience wishing to address the board may fill out a speaker slip and hand it to staff. When the chair calls your name, please come to the podium. Also, please silence your electronic devices at this time.
Thank you. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have a unusual agenda today in that, among other things, we're going to elect the new chair and vice chair for the coming year, otherwise known as Hallelujah Day in the Kennedy household. But we are going to take things a bit out of order, and we're going to bypass consent for now, and the new chair will handle consent items. And I'm also going to switch 41 and 40 out of courtesy. I think we have people who are here for 40 because after we elect the chair and vice chair, we're going to have to do some housekeeping and take a 5-minute break. So out of courtesy for our guests, Vice Chair Cerna has agreed that we'll take 41 first. So if you'll please call 41.
Presentation of Service Award recognizing Mai Chu Vu on 30 years of county service.
Good morning, members of the Board of Supervisors.
Morning.
It's my honor today to stand before you and present this 30-year award to Mai Cho Vu. And joining us today are also members of Mai Cho's family, including her mom and her husband and her kids and some of her grandchildren. She told me this morning she expects one more today. So thank you for rushing this because she's got to get home, right?
There you go.
All right. Mai Cho began her career with Sacramento County on October 26, 1989 as an eligibility worker at the Department of Human Assistance, where she did intake in the refugee unit. And she then went on to CalWorks Continuing, the Child Care Unit, and Community Work Experience. Some other projects that Mai Cho has worked on during her employment with Sacramento County include the Earned Income Tax Credit Program. She's also a lifetime member of the Asian and Pacific Islander Caucus, Welfare to Work Reform Outreach Team, and a facilitator for the Investment in Excellence. In 2014, this is when I got to know Mai Cho. She was promoted to a workforce coordinator, and I got to know her and her amazing work ethic. Recently, when I spoke to Mai Cho, she told me that the most rewarding part of her job is helping people. She gets to assist the most needy in the community to obtain gainful employment. She gets to witness the transformation of our customers and their families as they settle into this new life that seemed unreachable to them at times. She gets to watch them grow in confidence, watching many of their worries be set aside as they begin to work hard and make money. And many times she gets to see them get off of public assistance. As you can clearly see, Mai Cho has a vital role in serving the customers of the Department of Human Assistance and the community of Sacramento County. Her service and dedication to the county is greatly appreciated. And Mai Cho, I congratulate you on 30 years with the county and thank you for your service.
Mai Cho, you sure you don't want to say a few words? You've put a lot of time in here. You've earned the time at the podium.
Anything you want. Okay.
Since you say that, I'm gonna just say it's my pleasure, and I am greatly appreciate that I have the opportunity to be part of a public servant and helping a lot of people become self-sufficient. And I'm really grateful to be in this service field.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Supervisor Natoli here.
May Cho, before you leave the chambers, I know you have your family with you here today. I had the opportunity at the opening of the new Greenhaven office, formerly the Bowling Green, for our Department of Human Assistance. Had a chance to talk with May Cho at that opening here a few weeks ago, and she remarked that she was going to be down here in the chambers for this acknowledgement today. But I just want to share with my colleagues real briefly that in talking with May Cho and some of her colleagues, the number of years that folks have devoted, in the case of the folks that I was chatting with there, to delivery of human services, to making differences in the lives of children and families, and helping folks with gainful employment and housing and all the things that folks do. It was very, very impressive, and I, again, had a chance to talk with her briefly. But again, I was very impressed by her dedication, and certainly today we recognize her 30 years of public service, but I think of many of her colleagues as well. And I just wanted to personally extend, I know she, again, for those that carry their phones, took a selfie, which she did, and sent me a copy of that. But all that being said, I want to thank you, Attorney May Cho, for your dedicated public service. Obviously, your family's very, very proud of you, and wish you well, obviously, as you continue your service to the people of this community. So, again, congratulations.
Thank you, Supervisor Natoli. And next item.
Item 40 is the election of the 2020 Chair and Vice Chair of the Board of Supervisors.
Okay, as I said, we will conduct this business, and then we'll take a 5-minute recess, in which time the new chair will take over. With that, are there any nominations?
I would nominate the slate of officers for Chair, Supervisor Cerna, and for Vice Chair, Supervisor Frost.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Unanimous vote.
All right. Well, congratulations, Mr. Cerna.
Thank you. So before Mr. Kennedy relinquishes his position on the dais as our esteemed chair for 2019, I do want to make a few comments, and I suspect that my colleagues might also want to speak to this changing of the guard that we do annually. For those that may not view it this way, just let me make it clear. It's a great privilege for all 5 of us to serve in the capacities that we do, representing our respective districts and the county as a whole. I think sometimes we lose sight of the fact that this is the largest local government that we have the good fortune to represent in the Central Valley to the Oregon border. And that's a big responsibility. And as a county, separate from other aspects of local governance, whether it be at the school district level or the municipal level, the broad spectrum of services that we're responsible for is very unique in terms of county governance and service delivery. We touch people's lives in the most intimate ways, whether it be through human assistance or child welfare, public safety certainly, and we protect our environment, whether it be along the American River Parkway or in the other natural landscapes of this great county. We do a lot, and it's a full-time position, just not on paper, but certainly all 5 of us can attest. It is a position that you find yourself working on behalf of your constituents every waking moment of the day, whether it's the weekend or not, whether it's the evening or not. And so when you have the opportunity to rotate in as chair, that responsibility becomes elevated a bit. Certainly there's a ceremonial aspect to it. You tend to sign a lot more documents and parchment, and you find yourself at the podium a little more frequently to rightfully bring attention to events and people that deserve the attention for their good service to this community. But I know that my colleague, Supervisor Kennedy, did not take lightly his first opportunity to serve as chairman for the last year. He's done an incredible job, a wonderful job, It hasn't always been easy, and I think we can all attest that it hasn't been easy on occasion. Sometimes when we have contentious issues, we have a lot of passion in these chambers on a great many number of matters, and it is the chair that we all lean on to make sure that the public always has the opportunity to address this board and speak their piece. I really want to thank Patrick for just doing a very, very good job as our chair in 2019. That before we hear from other members of the board, on behalf of his colleagues, I do want to present Supervisor Kennedy with a piece of parchment that we have all signed. But it does commemorate the fact that we have all contributed a collective $200 in his name to an organization that I know is very near and dear to his heart. Patrick has earned in a very short amount of time some notoriety here amongst us here on the board as being very, very focused on mental health. He is our designee to the County Mental Health Board. He is outspoken and very energetic when it comes to making sure that we set policy appropriately in this county and also appropriate resources commensurate with those policies to make sure that people have all the mental health resources that they deserve. And so it is my honor to present him this certificate of contribution in the amount of $200 to NAMI, which is the National Association on Mental Illness. Now, as the new chair, I would open up the floor. Supervisor Frost?
I just want to thank you, Patrick, for a good year. It stood out what a fair man you are, what a great job you do in running meetings. You're an example to me, and I hope I can do as well as you did during a year when we had some challenges with the budget and in several different areas. I felt like you always had the reins and led us through it expeditiously, which was really appreciated. And so I hope you really enjoy this next year as you step down from chair and get to relax a little bit.
Supervisor Peters.
Yeah, thank you. Patrick, I know you like it short and sweet, so thank you. Thank you for guiding us through the highs and lows. I thought you did a great job under some often difficult circumstances, so enjoy your next year.
Supervisor Tully.
Well, I wish you a happy Hallelujah Day in the Kennedy household. But in all seriousness, Patrick, I want to express my thanks and appreciation for your leadership and good work this year. As we all know, certainly this job has aspects that come at you very fast and furious, but being the chair, the additional duties, both ceremony, but certainly in coordinating with the clerk's office, with the county executive and the department heads, and then all the other role aspects that go with that are ones that you shouldered well, and certainly I know you've had the support of your respective staff, your the chief of staff and assistants and secretaries, because there is a workload that goes with the chair. But I want to thank you for your good work, and obviously you're now well seasoned in the chair, and so I'm sure it prepares you for other things, but also gives you the perspective of certainly the support from your colleagues, the work that goes on each and every day, and I want to thank you for your good work, and I look forward to a good year ahead. Thanks.
Thank you all. I appreciate all the kind words. I appreciate all the support I've gotten from my colleagues over the past year. I specifically appreciate the support of my staff, who, as Supervisor Natoli alluded to, when you're the staff of the chair, your work does increase significantly, probably even more than the chair. So I really appreciate all the good work that they've done. And I also want to thank the person who kind of makes it look easy up here and makes me look good, and that's Flo Evans. So thank you.
All right, very good. Okay, as was alluded to earlier, we do have to take a 5-minute recess. We're going to use that time to switch chairs and adjust some of the technology. So with that, we are on recess for 5 minutes. I'd like to call back to order this meeting of the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors for Tuesday, January 14th, 2020. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll and reestablish a quorum?
Frost.
Here.
Kennedy.
Here.
Natoli.
Here.
Peters. Cerna.
Here.
And you have a quorum.
Great, thank you. All right, now back to our regularly scheduled program. First item.
For your consent matters, items 1 through 39. Item 25, you're adopting ordinance amending certain sections of Chapter 16.80 of the Sacramento County Code for the Antelope Public Facilities Financing Plan relating to the allocation of eligible fee credit and reimbursement amounts. You waived reading on this on December 17th, and that concludes the clerk's notes.
Okay, very good. Any member of the board wish to pull an item for separate vote or discussion? I'm going to start on my left. Mr. Tully?
Yes, if we could pull item 31, I want to ask a couple questions regarding that, if I could.
Item 31 is the Mather Commerce Center landscape maintenance contract.
Okay, I don't know if this is DOT is a representative here or not, but what I wanted to ask about on this particular matter is that in the last few years, I know that with some of the properties that the county owns within the Commerce Center area that are vacant, that I've had to work with the Department of Economic Development. I know Troy Givens has been very helpful, as with some of his colleagues there, but maybe they've coordinated through DOT or not. But we have some areas right across from the community campus that tend to get very unsightly as it relates to weeds, both outside some of the fenced areas as well as on the properties themselves. And this has weed management, and so I guess my question is that can we assure that either this contractor, because rather than make calls and let the weeds get, I don't want to exaggerate, I'll say a couple feet high and spilling over the curb and so forth, and then again with intervention from Mr. Given in economic development, maybe working with DOT or others. So I guess I'd like to see that get built in so that it's taken care of, that there's a weed management program that's built into this program as relates to, bless you, landscape medians and such. And so I guess if we could make sure that it doesn't require us going till late in the spring and then we're having to work with everybody else to get this done. It needs to be done timely, I guess. That's my point.
We'll definitely look into it.
Okay. So would it be a part of this contract, NAV, or do we know?
We'll have to check. I'm not positive if that, and you talked about a couple of different components of that area. I'm not sure if everything's in there, but everything that has been done in the past under that district is included in the contract.
Okay.
And we'll keep your comments in mind as we go back and look at it. If we need to make slight changes,
okay, because these properties are within the Commerce Center area that I'm talking about. It's just that, they aren't regularly, they don't have groomed landscaping, but they need to be mowed and certainly annually on some of the larger lots, but the frontages get very unsightly. So.
I believe it's there, but I want to make sure absolutely. If it's not, we will make sure it's in there.
Okay. One other thing I wanted to ask about, since we've taken down the old wing headquarters building, again, we put bark in there and it looked nice the first year, still looks okay, but what's the treatment going to be so that as weeds come through that area, that's right at the center of the entry to Mather. And so I guess my question is that part of this contract? It's not, there's landscaping around it, but there's that large area where the building used to be that just, basically has no ground cover and some bark. And so is there some expectation we're going to freshen that up, on a regular basis and keep it looking well?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Not necessarily part of this contract, but we'll make sure it gets done, though.
Correct.
Okay, good. Thanks. That's all I had. Thanks.
Supervisor Frost.
I would like to pull item 7 just for a quick comment.
7.
Item 7.
Item 7, authorize the execution of a lease agreement for the Sacramento Public Library Authority.
So I just wanted to thank the county staff, especially Rob Leonard, who's no longer with us, and Britt Ferguson, and my chief of staff, Matt Hedges, and the Library Authority Board, and the county executives and staff who have participated in helping to come to this day. It's taken us, I think it's 4 supervisors who served several terms, so it's been over decades that the Orangeville Library has wanted more space and improved library services, and The community is so excited about this lease agreement that we're voting to sign today. The honorary mayor who manages a hair salon there is moving her entire business to make this possible, Julie King, and I want to thank her for being willing to do that, to help us pull this together. It's not the library that was planned over time. Obviously, the funds are not there for a brand new library, but I have to tell you, the community is so excited. They're already talking about how they're going to promote this library and market it, and events they're going to have and things they're going to do. So this will be at the heart of our community in Orangevale, and I want to thank everyone who helped us make this possible. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Supervisor Peters.
Thank you. On.
There you go.
There it is, thank you. Like the record to reflect, I'm recusing from items 3, 5, and 31 due to potential conflict of interest.
Got it.
Thank you. Supervisor Kenny? No. Okay. I do have a comment on item 21.
Item 21, authorization to execute an agreement with WellSpace Health in the amount of $555,200 for inmate reentry services.
Great, thank you. I'm going to address my comment to Mr. Wagstaff on this. The CEO is well aware, per our discussion and briefing yesterday, that I maintain a great interest, as I note others do on this board, about the growing methamphetamine epidemic here in Sacramento County. The action that we're expected to take here on consent for item 21 is to essentially assist with funding for WellSpace Health to initiate programming for reentry for inmates that are coming out of our incarceration system here in Sacramento County. I just want to make certain that it's not alluded to specifically in the board letter. That is, methamphetamine is not mentioned specifically. I believe substance abuse treatment is, but I would be very interested to understand a little bit further what, if any, methamphetamine intervention and programming is going to be offered to folks that are coming out of our jails, especially male inmates who continue to test positive for meth in their systems when they're booked in our main jail at an extraordinary level. And again, this is one of those aspects, not just of substance abuse in our community, but what contributes greatly to homelessness. And so I think that this could be not just a great program for the folks that need and deserve treatment coming out of our jail system, but also for the broader community in terms of preventing folks from becoming homeless in the first place.
Thank you. And as you know, Supervisor, Dr. Bielenson mentioned at one of your last meetings the work that he's done with the jail, with the Sheriff's Department, in terms of organizing services for folks getting out of jail in terms of the medication that they need. So we'll be happy to provide more information on that for you.
Could you also do me one other favor, Bruce? Could you look at what work the Methamphetamine Coalition is doing and
Yes.
see if there's any programmatic intersectionality, if that's a word, between what WellSpace would be implementing, and as we grow closer to adopting a final strategic plan on meth interdiction here and intervention here in Sacramento County, whether there's an opportunity there to do something special.
Thank you. Will do.
Supervisor Tully.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. It just occurred to me as you were speaking to item 20, but kind of on a related note, item 21, a related note on item 22, is there, which relates to reentry services, housing services for those that are incarcerated for periods of time in the Sacramento County jails. Because I think of the focus we've had, Bruce, on just as we talk about certainly addiction, but also supportive services. We're doing a number of things. There are different pots of money that are involved here. For example, the one that Mr. Chair Cerna spoke to, we have AB 109 monies in there. We have inmate welfare dollars into that. we're applying for re-upping of a grant to lower recidivism and homelessness amongst incarcerated population re-entering. Is there a way to kind of chart this out so we know? Because as we've spent hours in these chambers over the past year, and certainly in years past, and as we talk about where we're going with consent decrees on the jail system here and improving conditions within the jail, but certainly as things that we're doing either currently or plan to do, to have some composite listing and understanding, and maybe what the measurables are. There some performance measures which I'm sure are built into these, but I think it's important, certainly for this board and for those of us who are making decisions relative to budget and to allocation of resources for programs, but to the broader public as well, because again, it's there are already things underway that we do. We need to continue to test their effectiveness and to measure and monitor that. But as we're looking at putting millions of dollars more into into what we're going to do to, as I said, improve conditions in the jails, but also hopefully keep people out of the jails by virtue of supportive services and diversion programs. I think it's important to know, because otherwise these items come and go on the agenda. They have contract terms of 2, 3, 4 years, and they're kind of done in a fairly routine fashion, and yet they all add up. And I guess that's my point. So I don't know if there's the ability. I assume there's the ability to do that. And I guess I would ask that at some juncture, maybe even pre-budget, to get some idea and what those funding sources are as we go into the budget considerations for later this spring and early summer. And
Will do.
Does that sound reasonable? I guess
Yes, we can do that. Makes a lot of sense.
So that we know, and again, and maybe how many people are being served, as one of those measures, and and how many people are being housed, and who's getting substance abuse services with regards to the item 21. But anyway, it occurred to me this morning as we were just talking about this, so I think that'd be helpful. Okay,
thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, I have no one signed up to speak on consent matters. With that, I'd entertain a motion. Moved by Supervisor Frost.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Tolley. And before we vote, please let the record again show that Supervisor Peters is recusing on items 3, 5, and 31. Please vote.
Unanimous vote.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Item 42, you are acting as the Housing Authority of the County of Sacramento. This is the Sierra Sunrise Senior Apartments, approval of the final tax exempt bonds.
Let's hold on.
Microphone's not
Let's
on.
get your
Sorry?
microphone working here.
It wasn't my imagination. Okay, thanks. Sorry. Good morning, Chair Cerna and members of the board. I'm Susan Veazey with the Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Agency. In July 2019, the board approved the issuance of up to $23 million in mortgage revenue bonds for the rehabilitation of Sierra Sunrise Senior Apartments in Carmichael. The report before you recommends the approval of the final bond documents. Closing of the financing is scheduled for March, and construction will begin shortly thereafter. A representative of USA Properties, who's the developer, is here, and we're available to answer any questions you may have.
Great. Thank you. Any questions of staff?
I just had a-
Supervisor Peters.
Thank you. A quick comment.
Sure.
It may be in here, and I just didn't see it. I went through it. The address needs to be in these kinds of
In the
documents.
staff report. Okay, we'll make
And
sure.
I didn't see it in the staff report.
Okay,
so
great. Thank
next
you.
time.
Yeah.
Okay. Other than that, I think this is a good update to that property, and recommend that we go forward with it, and I'll make the motion.
It's been moved by Supervisor Peters, seconded by Supervisor Frost. No one signed up to speak on this item. Please vote.
Unanimous vote.
Great. Before the clerk announces the next item, I want to remind those that have entered chambers since we started the meeting. Just a reminder, you're certainly welcome to address the board on any item that's on our agenda or any item that's not on our agenda. We ask that you do please complete a speaker slip, and we have staff in the rear of chambers to help you fill out those forms. Please give them to the clerk. If you decide to speak, you will have 3 minutes to address the board on those items. And we have those time limits in place so that everyone has an opportunity to address the board if they so choose. So with that, next item, please.
Item 43, you are now back as the Board of Supervisors. Approval of the 2019 Transient Occupancy Tax Grant Program recommendations.
Okay.
However, isn't that time for 10:15?
Oh,
We're a little ahead.
Oh, I didn't even notice the time. Thank you, sorry.
good call. Why don't we go ahead and take our appointments then?
Okay. That would be item 45.
We all ready to do that? Okay.
Okay, item 45, you are continuing to February 11th, the Carmichael Old Foothill Farms Community Planning Advisory Council and the Sacramento County Alcohol and Drug Advisory Board. You're continuing to February 25th, the Cemetery Advisory Commission, Cordova Community Planning Advisory Council, and the Veterans Advisory Commission. For your first item, you have the Arden Arcade Community Planning Advisory Council. Supervisor Peters.
Thank you. I'd like to reappoint Steve Turner and Colin Ceres to the Arden Arcade CPAC.
Okay. Adult and Aging Commission, Supervisor Cerna.
Chiefs are recommending continuing this item until January 28th.
County Planning Commission, Supervisor Cerna.
I'd like to reappoint Kara Martinson.
Okay, and Supervisor Peters.
Reappoint Peter Tatishi.
Okay. County Service Area 4C Delta, Supervisor Natoli.
Yes, I would nominate Barbara McGowan, and I would like to be sure that we fill one of the vacated seats that were vacated due to resignations.
Got it.
Very good, thanks.
Fair Oak Cemetery District, Supervisor Peters.
I'd like to reappoint Carolyn Flood and Albert Neufeld and continue the remainder to the 28th of January.
Okay. And then you also have the Fair Oaks Community Planning Advisory Council.
Reappoint Rebecca Friedman and continue the remainder to February 11th.
Okay. Mr. Cerna, Law Library Board of Trustees.
Our chiefs are recommending reappointing June Coleman.
Mission Oaks Recreation and Park District, Supervisor Peters.
Continue to January 28th, please.
Okay. Paratransit, Supervisor Cerna.
Chiefs are recommending continuing the item to January 28th.
Okay. You also have the Public Health Advisory Board.
Chiefs are recommending reappointing Joe Phil Borja, Stephen Heath, Farla Kaufman, Manuel Petrosor,
And
the remainder to February 25th.
Okay. Supervisor Frost, you have Rio Linda Alberta Community Planning Advisory Council.
Please nominate Bob Reisig and continue remaining to February 25.
Okay. Sacramento County Mental Health Board. We'll start with Supervisor Cerna.
I'd like to reappoint Ann Arneely and nominate Lauren Shelley.
Okay. Supervisor Kennedy.
Reappoint Laura Bemis.
Supervisor Peters.
Continue to February 25th.
Okay. And then we have Supervisor Frost.
Continue to February 25, please.
Okay. And Supervisor Natoli.
Yes, I'd like to nominate Sylvia Rodriguez for the public interest representative seat and continue the consumer and family member seats. We have an interview pending on the consumer seat, and we don't have any applicants for family members. So let's continue to January 28th, the consumer seat.
Okay.
Please.
Got that. Thank you. Sacramento County Youth Commission, Supervisor Peters.
Continue to February 25th, please.
Okay. Supervisor Natoli.
Continue to February 11th, please.
February 11th?
Yes.
Okay. Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Commission, Supervisor Kennedy.
Continue to January 28th.
And Supervisor Frost.
Nominate Mel Griffin.
Okay. Supervisor Natoli.
Continue to January 28th. We have an interview pending.
And Supervisor Cerna for your public housing resident.
Chiefs are recommending continuing the public housing seat until February 25th.
Okay, noted. And last item is the South Sacramento Area Community Planning Advisory Council, Supervisor Kennedy.
Reappoint, I believe this is correct, but I may have a typo, Erica Jaramillo, and continue the remainder to February 25th.
Yes. And that concludes your nominations.
Okay, we still have a couple of minutes. We will stand in recess for a couple minutes. Okay, call back to order this meeting of the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors for Tuesday, January 14th, 2020. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll and reestablish quorum?
Supervisors Frost. Here. Kennedy.
Here.
Natoli.
Here.
Peters.
Here.
Cerna.
Here.
And you have a quorum.
Great, next item, please.
Item 43 is the approval of the 2019 Transient Occupancy Tax Grant Program recommendations.
Morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board, and of course I have a PowerPoint. I'm Britt Ferguson, the County Chief Fiscal Officer, and I'm joined here this morning by Tina Kepke and Shelley Willis. Tina is the analyst, is the person in our office who really does all the work on the TOT program, dealing with hundreds of potential applicants and over 50 contracts. And of course, Shelley Willis is the consultant that we hired a few years ago to really design the process to bring some order to dealing with hundreds of applications, and it's been invaluable in the assistance that she provided. They'd be available to answer questions you may have of them. So to begin then, the board created the Transient Occupancy Tax Grant, or TOT grant program, in 2017 to provide, through a competitive application process, funding to nonprofit organizations for community-based programs and or services in Sacramento County. In February of 2018, the board authorized continuing the TOT grant program for a second year with some modifications. Those modifications included eliminating government entities and capital campaigns from qualifying for funding, reducing the minimum request to $10,000 and the maximum to $100,000, and adjusting the allocation of the $1 million, which originally it was all supposed to be competitive, to $500,000 to the highest ranking organizations in 4 subject areas, and $500,000 for district grants to be awarded by board members to qualifying entities, but not based on ranking or scoring. The 2018 TOT grant program received 208 applications that requested a total amount of $10.5 million in county assistance. In October of 2018, the board approved funding for 56 projects. As part of the fiscal year 1920 adopted budget, the board approved $928,000 to fund the continuation of the TOT grant program for a third year, what we call the 2019 TOT grant program. The board designated the same review panel format as in the previous grant cycles: subject matter panels to do the initial ranking and make recommendations to the TOT grant review panel, which was comprised of Supervisors Kennedy and Peters and the chiefs of staff for the other 3 board members. The board also requested the addition of 2 public workshops for potential grant applicants.
Britt, before you continue, just real briefly for the public's benefit, we throw around the term TOT, or transient occupancy tax, all the time. But for the public's benefit, could you just briefly explain what it is?
What TOT is?
Yeah.
So TOT, transient occupancy tax, is basically a tax on the renting of hotel rooms in the unincorporated county. It's discretionary revenue to the county, and the board has designated a portion of it for this grant program.
And it's mostly revenue that does not come from county residents, right? It comes from visitors to Sacramento.
By definition, yeah. Well, I guess you could spend a night in a motel room here in the county if you wanted, but yes, mostly it's from non-county residents.
Thank you.
So, as in the past, staff contracted with Shelley Willis to provide independent guidance and assistance with the application and review process. We did, as in the past, extensive advertising and outreach to the nonprofit community, and you can see all the different avenues that we use to indicate that this funding was potentially available. We continued to use an online grant management program that we procured for the 2018 TOT grant program, that program was used and recommended by established nonprofits in the community. On July 24th and 26th, in accordance with the board's request, staff hosted 2 public workshops at 2 different times of the day, one during the early evening and one at midday. These workshops hosted approximately 300 attendees between both sessions. At these workshops, staff reviewed the application process, explained the questions that would need to be addressed by applicants, and answered questions from applicants. The application period was open from July 26, 2019, starting at 8 a.m. through August 26, 2019 at 5 p.m. The 2019 TOD grant program received 263 applications, so a significant increase from the amount received in the prior year, requesting a total of $11.3 million in-county assistance. Due to the diverse activities and the unique services provided by applicants, applicants were instructed to select one of 4 program categories that best represented the mission of their organization. And those categories were arts and culture, community development and services, economic or workforce development, or health and human services. Applicants were reviewed and scored by panels comprised of subject matter experts in the 4 areas, and those members are identified in attachment 2 of the report. The panelists were selected based on their subject matter expertise, knowledge of the community, and ability to objectively review the application materials. The panelists represented a balanced and diverse group with representatives from the county as well as local volunteers from community foundations, community arts experts, and the private sector. Each panelist read, analyzed, and preliminarily scored the grant applications, all 260 or so of them, and supplemental material in their category. Between September 24th, 2019 and October 17th, 2019, each of the subject expert panels convened to discuss applications and assign score. We estimate that each panel member had to spend more than 40 hours reviewing and discussing the applications. And again, many of these people were volunteering their time, so substantial commitment of time and effort on their part. On October 31st, 2019, Ms. Willis and our staff presented the TOT grant review panel, that is the 2 supervisors and chiefs of staff, with the applicant rankings and a summary of the subject expert panel's recommendations, along with notes for each application. Based on the subject matter expert panel's recommendations, the TOT grant review panels recommended that the 23 highest ranking applications be funded for up to 75% of their total requests, with $500,000 allocated roughly equally across the 4 activity categories. In addition, as you know, individual board members allocated a total of $428,000 to 48 applications, including providing full funding for 3 of the applications funded through the competitive ranking process. All told, 68 organizations and projects totaling $928,000 in funding are recommended for funding today. These organizations are listed in attachment 1 to the board letter. The Office of Budget and Debt Management notified all applicants of today's hearing and recommendations, and will follow up with the board's approved funding decisions. Staff will immediately begin contract preparation for grantees once the board approves today's recommendations. Applicant organizations may request their application scores and subject expert panel summaries through the Office of the Budget and Debt Management at any time. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you, Britt. Before we take questions from my colleagues, I just want to offer my sincerest thanks to our colleagues, Supervisor Peters and Supervisor Kennedy, for the time they put into this process. This is, I believe, the 3rd year that each has participated. And as you made mention, Britt, it's a great amount of time that they put in. I also want to thank Ms. Willis for her professionalism and, as you mentioned, being kind of the organizational component to all this. Certainly want to thank our chiefs of staff for the time they put into it, and all the subject matter experts that were volunteers in this process. This is probably one of the most thoughtful, methodical things that we do now on an annual basis. So with that, Supervisor Tully.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Certainly would echo your thanks, and just wanted to get some understanding, one, about sharing information, that information now that the recommendations have been made and obviously are before this board for adoption. We can share that as well because we have those binders, so we were able to share the information. And I think there was, I don't know that it was embargoed before that, but I think there was a sense that until the board acted that those were kept with some level of I guess, confidence. Britt, just, and maybe others on the board can answer it. So the discussion about the highest ranking receiving up to 75% versus a 50% or 100%, what was the board direction around that going into it, and was there any, because this is the panel recommendation, it's obviously embedded in the staff report, and I know there was some discussion at the time the panel's heard this. So I guess I'd be curious to, maybe you can help and maybe colleagues can weigh in as well.
So correct. So first of all, in the 2018 process, the panel of the two supervisors and chiefs of staff recommended 50% allocation level. And this year, all of the subject matter, and so when we went out and solicited applications, we made it clear that it would be potentially the case that applicants would be funded at less than 100%, and they needed to indicate that they would be willing to adjust their programs accordingly, and so they all did that. Knowing that going in. This year, it was the unanimous recommendations of the subject matter panels that they be funded at 75% rather than 50%, and that was the recommendation coming out of the review panel. And I think the gist of it was, and perhaps Ms. Winters can speak to this more, or Willis, excuse me, can speak to this more, but I think the thought was that at 50%, it was sometimes difficult for these to have as much. They put together a budget for a program because that's what they thought they needed to do the program. And at 50%, it was sometimes very difficult to actually achieve the results that they proposed. And so 75% seemed to be a more reasonable number. In addition, as you know, some of you board members in allocating your individual allocations made up the difference between the 75% and 100%, even in that case, in the case of some of these proposals. So that was the logic. Each year the review panel makes a recommendation along those lines, and that's the recommendation this year.
Okay, that helps. I think Mr. Kennedy was going to
Yeah,
answer. I still wanted to ask some questions, but I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to respond to
okay.
that. And I'll just tell you what my thinking was. Britt pretty much summed it up, and that's after speaking to a number of the applicants and just saying, what if you got funded at 50? The answers always came back, we can't do it. So that was where I was coming from.
Okay. So that helps. The clock doesn't start running on the grant term because I know that that there are deadlines, and so what would be, assuming the contracts are out and returned in the next several weeks, I guess. What is the expiration date? This wouldn't be until.
It'll be a year. We'll make sure that every applicant that all the contracts are for a full year of funding.
Okay, so whatever they go out, and that starts when you get the contract signed back and executed, is that right? Not from the date we send it out,
yes.
So that way that gives them time to
Yes.
implement. Okay, a couple other comments. One, I want to certainly thank my board colleagues. I know when we had budget discussion, it's reflected here in this, the number 2 under the first bullet there, is that with an allocation that was made to retain a number of community spay-neuter programs and access to them. And I want to thank my colleague, Supervisor Kennedy, who agreed to after we'd had the hearing to contribute towards that. But that's, again, why District 5 only received $50,000 of the designated funds because that was by this board action during our budget concurrence by my colleagues to allocate that to retain those programs for the full year. And I guess my question to you, Britt, and thank you again to my colleagues, are we making sure that money didn't have a year expiration? Because I don't know, that was made a general fund move that, so in the event that wasn't expended, that's not going to be scooped at the end of the year if there were still some monies that were set aside for that particular purpose. How is that being, I guess, overseen by budget and finance?
Basically, we understood that you had agreed to fund the programs that were funded during the budget, and our expectation would be we treat like that any other net county cost funding for a program during the year. Anything that's not spent just flows back into the fund balance. You would have then the opportunity next year to make the decision whether to do the same or not do the same with the TOT money.
Okay, but so who's tracking it? Because it's a little different. It's general fund, but it's a little different funding stream. And to my question earlier about the community programs that'll receive funding, obviously that year started, or will start here in the next few weeks or next month or so. But with regards to that funding, again, I assume those monies will be exhausted, but I don't know that. And so I guess I just wanted to make sure we track, because there was a designation from this source recognizing that comes from general fund.
We could keep track.
Okay.
And we could let you know. That, of course, that did not wait till now. That's already started with the adoption of the budget. So, but we could let you know.
And I appreciate that, because again, it would have required some cutbacks in community access for some very important services at the animal shelter and to our rescue and shelter community.
Right.
And then I guess just one follow on then, again, obviously the organizations that are being funded, obviously very pleased, and those that didn't receive funding, obviously I'm sure are a bit disappointed. But nonetheless, assuming we have this program next year, what was the experience with the workshops? Because you showed large numbers of participants, I guess attendees and so forth, and I guess that was one of the things that we emphasized a year ago, certainly with board conversation about, having proposer conferences that would allow folks to get a full understanding of what the parameters were, but also, I guess, encouragement to how to fill out applications and so forth. So could you just share?
I think my observation, having sat through them as one of them anyway, was that there was a lot of interest. We spent a lot of time talking about the sorts of things that would enhance the likelihood that they would get funding, and the sort of questions that they needed to be prepared to answer. There were a lot of questions that were asked, and so I think it was well received. Ms. Willis might want to comment on that as well.
Good morning. Yeah, the workshops went really well, but what we found was that we need to spend more time. So I would like to recommend for next year, if we go ahead and do this program again, that we do a webinar, and we have some of the information online so that the participants can access it easier. We did put all of the, during the question answer period, we had somebody taking notes, and so we put most frequently asked questions online, so that people who didn't have the opportunity to attend could go ahead and access that information. But because there was so much interest, and you have 100 people or 200 people at a workshop, there's not a lot of one-on-one time. So it'd be great if we do it next year that we have maybe we double the amount of workshops or do a webinar or have some other strategy.
Okay. Well, thanks for your assistance, Shelley, and certainly a shout out to Britt and to Tina Kepke, who I know Tina gets calls from our office on a frequent basis, but thanks for your good work. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Quick question about this webinar idea. Is that something that we could use to, I know that the trend over the last 3 years has been the amount of money in terms of the requests. The oversubscription has declined, but I believe the number of requests has increased in terms of, so you have more organizations seeking smaller amounts. Is there a way to use a webinar early so that there's better information about chances, so to speak, in terms of success for this? And as Supervisor Kennedy mentioned, that when it came to understanding the number of folks, organizations that could succeed in their missions with a fraction of the funding, it began to precipitously kind of drop off. Is there a way to Shelley, to use the webinar to kind of broadcast even more clearly what this is and isn't, and what the opportunities are and aren't?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, our workshop, what was it? It was an hour and a half long. Yeah, and it was, it's a significant amount of time, but you don't really get to go into the details as much. And then certainly it helps eliminate the staff time, in between the time the application is released and people apply, because they still, even after those workshops, they have a lot of questions. So I think the webinar, staff could refer them to that and eliminate some of that staff time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we do have, are there other questions?
Oh, I didn't. I'll wait till the end.
Okay, we do have a half dozen speakers signed up to speak to this item. I'll remind speakers, please limit your commentary, your testimony to 3 minutes. That way everyone has an opportunity to address the board. With that, the first person is Tara, and excuse my pronunciation here if I get it wrong, Tara Kolvenbach. Following Ms. Culvenbach will be Gus Chavez.
Hi, I'm Tara Culvenbach. I live in Rancho Cordova, and I'd like to say thank you and good morning to the Chair and the whole Board of Supervisors. I am the Executive Director of Whisker Warriors Animal Defense Fund, and I really appreciate this last year. You gave us a grant of $10,000. And what happened as a result of that, because I got the phone calls, is that there were so many people that called that were homeless, in cars. They were the very poor within the county that came and asked for spay-neuter services for their pets. And they had no other resources to get free care. And what I found from it is that this was such an appreciated resource for the community. And so I'm very grateful for that. And what I also found is that the city of Sacramento, Rancho Cordova, and Citrus Heights for cats only, they have their own little programs. So those people could go there for extra services, but the real need is in other unincorporated areas. There's nothing for them. In fact, they're still calling me, and we don't have a grant, you know. And people don't, I can't refer them anywhere. And that's what's very frustrating to me. Because the only thing they really can get is if they are on the PG&E care program or whatever, they can get 40% discount. And so I tell them you can go to SPCA for that. But these people that call me, they don't have any money to do this. So what happens is, I think what it is that there are so many backyard breeder type situations. They get the animals for nothing because they don't go to the shelters. The shelters, they would have free spay neuter, right? So they're out there, they're getting these animals possibly free wherever, or Craigslist or whatever. And then they have no way to give them their vaccines for their animals or get them spayed and neutered when they go into heat. And then if they do abandon the animals, then you end up with what? Kittens, puppies, you know, and we already have an overburdened shelter system. So I don't know what to do. I know you can't give me money because I know what your priorities are. You gave money to the community spay-neuter clinic, which is vital, just vital for all of us, that you gave them money. And animal care and regulation and the pit bull program, those are critical. And so I understand and so I don't know what to do. I'm not saying our grant needs to be funded, but I think as a community, we have to think about what we're going to do for all these low-income people that really love their animals and want to keep them. And that's why I came here today. So thank you for your time.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Tara, for your good work as well.
Okay, Gus Chavez. Following Mr. Chavez will be Liv Moe.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Gus Chaveste. I'm the site director for Asian Resources Incorporated in Citrus Heights. We have 3 locations here in Sacramento. Some of the services we provide are resources and services for the low income and the disenfranchised community. Our proposal today is to provide, our proposal is to provide English and second language classes as a second language classes and support the aging population at all 3 of our sites. We want to thank you for considering this program and hope that you approve this funding for this recommendation, and also to thank Kennedy, Supervisor Kennedy here, for supporting our lunar dinner, which is going to be this Thursday, and we hope to see you there. Okay?
Look forward to it. Thanks.
All right.
Great, thank you. Liv Moe. Following Ms. Moe will be Randy Sievers.
Good morning. My name is Liv Moe. I'm the founding director of Verge Center for the Arts. For any of you that aren't familiar, you already, well, I shouldn't say unfamiliar if you funded. we represent a program called SAC Open Studios that provides opportunities to regional artists to open their studios to the community and invite the public in. This will be the 15th year of the program, and today we now serve 250 regional artists and over 23,000 regional participants who come and patronize these studios in the region. We were really excited to see a proposed investment in this program for the third year in a row. In the first 2 years that the county supported the program, we doubled the participating artists, and we more than doubled the participating patrons that come and visit these studios. Not only that, we've been able to expand the programs that we offer to the participating artists, so we have more professional development workshops and other sorts of things that help them connect with the community in a more efficient way when the public does come in. So I just want to really thank you for creating this program that is helping people reach arts services and have art experiences in neighborhoods and communities that really have no art services otherwise. In some places, these are pretty far-flung areas. We go from Galt to Folsom, Rancho Cordova, you name it. We're now in every district in the county. So I just want to thank you again for investing in this program and helping us bring art resources to underserved parts of the region. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Randy Severs. Following Mr. Severs will be Rebecca Gordon.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Randy Severs, and I'm the co-founder and executive director for Runnin' for Rhett, the nonprofit. We're the largest youth fitness program in Northern California. I'm a lifelong resident of Sacramento County, moving here first in 1965. Today, I'm asking the board to consider staff's and review panel alternate action to adjust the recommended allocation of the 2019 transient occupancy tax to Runnin' for Rhett. Currently, they have recommended no funding for our program. Although our request was for $25,000, we would appreciate any funding that the board would provide to assist us with our goals. Based on the factors in your staff and review panel used to approve applications, including feasibility, budget, administrative capacity, impact, and leverage funds, Runnin' for Rhett more than meets the criteria. Our program is a model for other nonprofits. Our program is regional, serving 4 counties, but our heart is in Sacramento County. Last year alone, we served 147 schools and nearly 6,000 students within Sacramento County. Many of the schools that are in our program have participated for 8 seasons or more. Our program builds confidence as students train towards a goal. We call it moving into life. Moving into life is about more than physical activity. It's about more than completing a race. It's about a journey. Our program is open and free to anyone who's interested, so it is accessible. Parents consistently share how much their kids love our program and how it has helped them have a positive attitude about not only fitness, but themselves. We have expanded our program to provide new shoes to participants at our neediest schools. Last year, we raised over $35,000 to purchase 1,000 pairs of New Balance running shoes. 21 elementary schools in Sacramento County received these new shoes. For many of these students, these were their very first pair of running shoes. These shoes may have been their very first pair of new shoes altogether. We were fortunate with our 2019 fundraising efforts enough so that we were able to budget and fund another 1,000 pairs of shoes to children this spring. Funding from the board would help us achieve our goal to provide more shoes to more kids in the future. In closing, I again ask the board to consider alternate action to adjust the recommended allocation to Runnin' for Rhett. Any funding that the council provides helps us with our mission to encourage kids to move into life. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, Rebecca Gordon. Following Ms. Gordon will be Carrie Spencer.
Good morning.
Morning.
So I am with Runnin' for Rhett, Rebecca Gordon, and I'm going to start out with just a couple numbers. Just in Sacramento County, only 23% of our kids are physically fit, and 30% of these kids are overweight or obese. So we have a big problem in everywhere, but in Sacramento County. Programs like Runnin' for Rhett are needed to get kids away from their screens and get them moving, get them outside, get them running, doing whatever it is that activity we can provide for them. We are in schools twice each week during our training season, and they run and they play basketball and they do just different kinds of movements to get them out and moving in the fresh air outside. Since we started this program, we've helped 33,000 kids move into life, and we've spent over $846,000 doing so. We're a strong program, and we have a lot of demand every year for kids to come into this program. We continue to grow, but with that growth, we need additional funding. So we're able to fund what we do now, but funds from the TOT program will help us to continue to grow in 2020. And we'd like you to reconsider our request for funding for this year.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Carrie Spencer. Following Ms. Spencer, our final speaker will be Paul Allen.
Good morning, Board. It was great to hear the process that you guys went through in looking at your grant awardees. I'm also from Running for Red. I'm the board chair, and I want to thank you for allowing us to have a few minutes to kind of share more about our organization. As you've already heard from Randy and Rebecca, I want to share a little bit more. One of the things I love about our program is it really touches children of all athletic abilities. Many kids, we definitely have those kids that are the athletes that go out for their soccer and basketball and those sports. You know, my kids were not those. My kids were the ones that were a little bit more shy and not very comfortable in their athletic ability. Our program is great because it encourages kids of all athletic abilities, all economic levels. And those kids get out there, they learn about nutrition, they learn about healthy eating, and as mentioned before, we just get them moving into life and working towards a goal of achieving this 5K race. When they run across that finish line, they get a medal, and you would think that, they felt like rock stars. So as mentioned, it really helps not only with their physical abilities, it also helps with their confidence and their knowing that they can set and achieve a goal, which I think really carries forth as a lifelong achievement. Not only does it touch our youth in our area, it rolls over to families. We've heard stories where kids come home and say, hey, can we go for a walk after dinner tonight? So it's touching, again, the child and their families. I had a principal share that she had a family who she couldn't get the parents to show up for anything, but those parents showed up on race day. So we're touching children, we're touching families, we're making a difference in the community. As you've heard, we've recently rolled out the shoe program, and 1,000 of our 3,000 students receive shoes. We'd like to be able to increase that to touch more kids. You should have seen that race day, those kids that had their brand new shoes on. It was awesome. But looking at other children, didn't even have running shoes, didn't have shoes that really they should be wearing at all. And we really want to provide children with a very healthy running experience. So again, we appreciate you taking the time to hear more about our story, and hope that you would reconsider allocating some funds for Running for Red. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Our final speaker on this item is Paul Allen.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Paul Allen, the founding director of Riverbell, Sacramento, one of the best kept arts secrets in the world. We've been in existence for 22 years and operating in District 2. I wonder if I could have the final slide that was presented, as I have a question regarding that.
Okay, let me stop the clock so we can do that.
Yes. At the very excellent workshop that I attended, it was told to us that there would be $1 million divided into 4 categories, $250,000 for each category. That was very helpful in devising our budget for the application. I notice up here that there is $500,000 distributed under number 1 and $428,000 for number 2. I wonder if there's a missing $60,000 there that won't be budgeted, or if somehow it got lost. That was my question. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So that's the final speaker. Why don't we have Mr. Ferguson come back to the podium and answer that last question? I think it's an important one.
Yes, so that was the issue that Supervisor Natoli raised. There were There was a decision during the budget process, a request by both Supervisor Natoli and Supervisor Kennedy to take part of the money that would be available to them as individual board members to fund programs and award it to certain animal care functions in the county's animal care department. And so that money was then taken off the top, basically, and not available for allocation.
Okay, thank you. All right, so it's back in front of the board. I know that my colleagues want to address this. Let me just start by saying, first of all, thank you for those that took time out of your schedules today to be here and address the board. I also see folks in the audience that did not speak, but that are representing organizations that are going to benefit, assuming that we vote affirmatively on this morning, will benefit from the appropriation of TOT revenue. One of the things I think we can all agree on here in Sacramento County is that we're blessed with a great many nonprofit community-based organizations that just do incredible work, and quite frankly, we can't fulfill our mission as a county on a number of different levels if it were not for those partnerships that we enjoy with, in fact, hundreds if not thousands of organizations, certainly thousands of people associated with those organizations doing that great work. And I understand the frustration by some that may not be recommended for funding this year. I would encourage those that are not being recommended this year to please do not give up. I think one of the things that you can assume is that there is a bit of a learning curve here in terms of our process, and so if you didn't get funded or not being recommended this year, you at least are armed with some more information about the process, assuming we have a very similar process next year, and I for one will assume that that will be the case. So with that, we'll go to comments from my colleagues, starting with Supervisor Peters.
Thank you. Mostly it's thanks. It's really the panel volunteers that did the yeoman's work in this and sorting everything out and understanding each application and making the recommendations. And 40 hours is a lot of time from these busy individuals' lives to devote. Also, I really wanted to thank Shelley Willis for helping us form this new process. It's been an evolution of process, and I think it's gotten better every year, and thanks to her strong leadership, we've been able to develop this program, and I really wanted to thank you very much for that. So I'm ready to move the item when your speakers are finished.
Okay, so that's a motion on the floor?
Yes.
Okay, it's been moved by Supervisor Peters. Is there a
second?
Seconded by Supervisor Kennedy. We still have comments, questions from members of the board. Supervisor Tully.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. No questions. I certainly intend to support the motion, but I wanted to thank our speakers this morning. Again, certainly it's one, I think, good to hear back from folks about the good work that was accomplished with some of the money that was made available in past rounds, and also to I think hear more about certainly the folks who spoke on behalf of Running for Rhett about their good work. And I think obviously some of the disappointment that if the recommendation is approved as outlined in the motion. But I think what it says, and certainly Mr. Allen's question about the availability of monies. But I think it speaks to the need, but it also speaks to the good work. Again, these are public dollars, but they're being reinvested in sometimes sizable amounts, sometimes in very small amounts, but to help supplement a variety of activities, and I think important and oftentimes essential services that might not otherwise be available to people of all ages, from all walks of life, from all income levels. And I think that what it says to me is that the dollars that come from the source that, as you pointed out, Mr. Chair, and Mr. Ferguson responded to, that come from those that visit our community, and certainly I think come here for a variety of reasons as well. But part of that attraction has to be the quality of life and the attractions that we have here. But reinvesting those dollars in the quality of life, in our arts, and in our children and our families, or certainly our animal wellness, and in activities that promote good health, both physical, mental, and emotional, maybe spiritual health as well. I think are really, really important. And, you know, $1 million, you think it would go a long ways. And in this case, obviously, it's going to fund more than 60 organizations, and as I said, in a variety of amounts. But when you see the number of applications and you just hear just comments this morning, and I had a chance, I'm sure, as my colleagues did, to, you know, read through the binder and to see, again, just a vast you know, wealth of, I think, of collective volunteerism, and certainly those at the nonprofit sector that work to raise those very precious dollars, and certainly, you know, seek out in this process to have some additional support and recognition and funding through this program. And so, again, I guess to echo your comments, Mr. Chair, I would just say that, you know, I'm going to encourage folks. I know it's got to be a bit discouraging not to get funded, but there are, I think, the introduction of your particular activity and program, certainly in this process, helps all of us, certainly those who given the role of making some decisions as it relates to the funding, but I think also allows us in the time to come to give further consideration to some of the other activities. And I would just note, I guess I would close on this, is that you know, these dollars, again, as precious as they are, get spread around pretty significantly when you look at the number of organizations. And I guess I would just encourage us as we go into budget this year to keep focus on the good work and the goodwill that comes out of these dollars.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, if there's no further comments by my colleagues, there is a motion and a second on the floor. Please vote.
Unanimous vote.
Great. Thank you. All right. I know that we do have a number of folks here that have been very patient to speak off agenda. We have one more item. I think it will go fairly quickly before we can get to that. So with that, next item, please.
Item 44 is your own rank appointments. So if you can refer to the spreadsheet, we've highlighted the yellow items, and those are the items that need action. Your board can take action on any item, but I'll just go in the order of starting with the highlighted items. For the Adult and Aging Commission,
Madam Clerk, you're going to have to kind of give us a little more direction in terms of what's being asked of us on each of these.
Sure, I can help you out.
This has always been, it's kind of a historic, complex process, more than it needs to be, so I apologize.
No problem. So on the Adult and Aging Commission, this is a chair or chair designee. This is the ex officio appointment. Currently, you have Keaton Riley sitting in that designee. Do you want to change that, leave it the same?
You want to change it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm hearing from Supervisor Kennedy that he wants to have his appointment of his chief serving in that capacity changed. So is there other interest by my colleagues to have their chief serve?
I think it's always been the chair's chief.
Has it?
For a long time. Yeah. Howard was there before.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at the history here.
Just looking at you, Mr. Cerna.
I have a feeling Ms. Nava is upstairs scowling as she watches this. So, okay, so we'll go ahead and, if there's no objection, then have Lisa Nava, my chief of staff.
Okay, we'll make that update, and it is a one-year term. Next, we have the area for Agency on Aging, the governing board. This is basically a one-year term. Typically, you guys just reappoint folks, but if you have anyone new, if you could let me know.
Okay. Any member of the board have a new appointee, new assignee? Nope.
Okay.
Seeing none.
Next, we have the Criminal Justice Cabinet. This is the chair or chair designee.
Okay, I know that Mr. Kennedy's been serving in this role for some time now. Maintain that interest.
If the board would wish it.
Yeah, I would certainly suggest that Mr. Kennedy continue in that role.
Okay, and then Supervisor Frost is the alternate. Do we want to keep that the same?
Yeah, we'll have Supervisor Frost continue in her role as alternate to that.
Okay, awesome. That's a one-year term, so no changes there. We have the Law Library Board of Trustees, chair or chair designee. You typically appoint your county council.
Yeah.
We'll leave that the same.
Assume Ms. Travis has no objection.
Next would be the Northern California World Trade Center Board. This is the appointment of the chair, sits in as the member, and the vice chair is sitting in as the alternate. So
I believe Ms. Peters has served in this role for some time and would suggest.
Happy to volunteer it if someone else would like to.
Would like to have her continue in that role.
Okay, and currently Mr. Kennedy is sitting as the alternate. Are we leaving that the same?
It's taken such a great amount of my time. Yes, that's fine.
Okay, noted. Next, you have the Regional Human Rights Fair Housing Commission Governing Board. Do we want to leave the appointments the same? Currently, Kennedy is sitting in as chair, Supervisor Frost is the alternate, and also, Supervisor Kennedy and Natoli are members, and Supervisor Frost is the alternate.
Any suggestions for changes?
It's 10 minutes a year.
We meet once a year.
Okay, we'll keep it the same then.
Okay, awesome, you guys are easy. Okay, next we have the Sacramento County Disaster Commission. Typically, the chair is the member and the vice chair is the alternate.
I assume we can keep that the same.
Okay.
By the way, that's the worst name of any of the commissions that we have.
Chairman Cerna, I just want to confirm you're saying leave it the way it is, or?
Yes.
Okay, got it. And then we have the Sacramento County Mental Health Board.
I would like to suggest we keep our serving member and alternate the same. Mr. Kennedy's been doing a wonderful job in that role.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next, we have the Sacramento County Public Facilities Financing Corporation. Typically, the chair is the president and the vice chair is the vice president.
Ms. Frost, do you have any objection?
No, I'm happy to serve.
Okay, we'll rotate that.
Okay.
No, the president and CEO of that organization.
I saw that.
Wow. Get any stock options in that?
All right, and we just have a couple more. For the Sacramento Regional Solid Waste Authority, your SWA board, we just need to,
I believe I enjoy the luxury as chair to serve as alternate, is that right?
correct.
So that will be no change because I've been serving as in that
And
role.
you want to stay as chair? Okay, got it. And then for your Regional Transit District, we have Mr. Natoli's term expiring, so we just need to.
I would like to nominate Supervisor Tully to continue his service on the RT board if there's no objection.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Do we have to take any formal vote?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so
I
we'll
still
take-
second it, Don.
Thank you.
So we'll take care of that, and then that concludes any actions that we
Okay, that was
absolutely need to
record
do.
time, I think. All right, very good. Okay, we have a fairly abbreviated agenda today, so I believe we are at the conclusion, near the conclusion of our agenda. We don't have an afternoon session, correct?
No.
Okay. Again, there have been a number of folks that have been waiting patiently to speak on items not on the agenda, and this will be your opportunity to address the board, and we will start with Kevin Carter. And following Mr. Carter will be Robert Copeland.
Good morning, Chairman Cerna, County Board of Supervisor group. My name is Brother Carter. I'm a member of the Poor People's Campaign, a call for a national moral revival, and also a community advocate here in the city of Sacramento. I come to you with the urgency of great concern when we talk about the conditions in our county jail. Just recently, one of our brothers, a moral witness of this city that suffers from mental illness, was obtained by the Citrus Heights Police Department in the month of December, and was taken to the county jail. 2 to 3 days later, he was taken then to the UC Davis hospital with no brain movement, and now he sits in the ICU. His name is Antonio Thomas, and with great concern that we went through last year of removing the Inspector General, these are the urgencies that we face today, and without any accountability. So this immoral situation that has happened in the county jail needs to be addressed, and it needs your attention from the Thomas family. They are seeking justice for this tragedy that has happened in the county jail, especially with him being having mental illness. And I'm at great concern, and so is our campaign, because we've been watching here closely on how the narrative has changed, and you have taken away a very important tool to the county jail, which is having an inspector general, and that is very well needed in this case and in many other cases, because somebody has to be held accountable for these actions that have taken place. And we urge you, this is 2020, is a year of vision, and we need your vision and your attention now. It's very important. This man I go and see every day, lifeless, and that is on a machine. But my faith is in God that he gives him the recovery. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Okay, next up is Robert Copeland. Following Mr. Copeland will be Sonia Lewis.
We need an inspector general that will stand up to the sheriffs when they do, or the sheriff's department when they do any wrongdoing, or corruption, or any sheriffs shoot an unarmed citizen. We need a strong inspector general that won't back down from the sheriff and can't be locked out like Scott Jones did to the last one we had. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Sonia Lewis. Following Ms. Lewis will be Liz Blum.
Good morning. My name is Sonia Lewis, and although I have been an active community member pushing this board, the City of Sacramento, and law enforcement agencies to treat Black lives with extraordinary care, considering the unarguable fact that this country has, with intent, been determined to destroy the Black community at any and all cost. I come to you again enraged but not surprised about the incident that happened to Antonio Thompson at the county jail under the supervision of the Sacramento Sheriff's Department and the leadership of Scott Jones. I'm not surprised because there have been so many other Antonios before this past December. I am, however, outraged that this continues to be the norm, standard, operational procedures, and this board nor the Sheriff Department has proven to this community that you are interested or willing in changing the procedures. If you were interested, you would do the work to make it happen. If at the very basic, the expectation of persons employed at the jail is for them to guard and protect persons in their custody, the question I continue to ask is, why do you continue to let them fail us? The jail should not be a precursor to death, but it is. It has been and will continue to be without community oversight. Guard, by definition, in the simplest terms, means to watch. The dictionary takes it a step further: to protect against damage or harm. A person who keeps watch, or person formally assigned to protect a person or control access to a place and also prevent injury or damage. The Sacramento Sheriff Department has failed to provide this basic responsibility to Antonio Thomas. Let me offer to you the concept of protection, which is often seen as a falsehood in the Black community, as it has become a huge misnomer that law enforcement actually protects and serves certain demographic groups. And correct me if I'm wrong, but part of an officer's duty is to protect someone or something from suffering harm or injury. They are legal, formal measures intended to preserve civil liberties and rights. Now let me finally offer to you the definition of negligence: the failure to take proper care in doing something, the failure to use reasonable care, resulting in damage or injury to another. Thus, I am here to charge all of you with routinely providing negligent care for community members in the custody of the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department jail facilities. Antonio Thomas should not be in a hospital suffering in a comatose state right now, with his family offering constant care, watch, protection, because they are concerned for his life, like the sheriff should have been when he was in their custody. While it is well documented that Antonio suffered with mental health challenges, you would expect extra care and concern, guarding and protection for those paid people to safeguard in their custody. Finally, on behalf of the Liberation Collective for Black Lives of Sacramento, we come to you with a list of demands, and I'm sorry if I'm going over just a little bit. One, the family of Antonio Thomas deserves to see all unedited video of the incident that led to his comatose state. For purpose and accountability and transparency, these videos need to be made public, as the greater community of Sacramento deserves an opportunity to challenge the treatment and care of our community members while in custody. Two, the family of Antonio Thomas and the Liberation Collective for Black Sacramento demands the names of all officers and or inmates involved in the and assigned to the area where Antonio was found unresponsive.
Conclude your remarks, please.
Demand number 3, if deputies involved in the incident, we expect them to be removed from assignment at the Sacramento County Sheriff Department and terminated from the Sheriff Department. And finally, demand number 4, the Liberation Collective continues to assert that negligent officers' standards are prime circumstances that lead to incidences like but not limited to what happened to Antonio Thomas, and it is our goal to prevent that from happening again. The Sacramento County Jail, manned by the Sacramento Sheriff's Department, has a long documented history of neglect, abuse, death, torture, and unlivable conditions. We again demand this Board of Supervisors to create a community-led commission to oversee reports of misconduct and abuse with the power to recommend and administer consequences to all deputies.
Thank you.
Thank you. We stand in solidarity with the Antonio Thomas family.
Okay. Liz Blum. Following Ms. Blum will be Robin Ayers.
The Sacramento County Sheriff's Department continues to abuse their power inside their jails. From the violent abuse of Antonio Thomas to the murder of Marshall Miles, how many people need to die before you all feel convicted enough to create a community oversight committee? We know that despite the numerous lawsuits addressing human rights abuses inside the jails, that the Sacramento County Jail continues to maintain the worst jail conditions in the state. We urge the Inspector General to investigate and pay attention to the current human rights abuses of our community members inside the jails. We urge the board to create a civilian oversight committee as urgently as you would if your family's lives depended on it. I'd like to use the rest of my time to take a moment of silence for Antonio Thomas. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Robin Ayers. Following Ms. Ayers will be Mackenzie Wilson.
Okay. I have been in Sacramento County for just over 2 years. And one of the biggest issues I've heard since moving here is police brutality and police killing of unarmed black men, both before I arrived and after I've arrived. Ultimately, county sheriffs and city police do not create an environment of safety in our community or in our jails, especially in communities of color. Now, Antonio Thomas is unresponsive and in a coma while in custody in the Sacramento Sheriff's Department. How many more instances does the county have to experience before our county officials, the 5 of you, give a voice and give power to your community? How much information do we need to show that we must keep as many folks as possible out of a jail cell? You have recently approved the hiring of an investigator general to investigate instances such as what has happened to Antonio Thomas. It is past time to have a community-led commission to oversee reports of misconduct and abuse with the power to recommend consequences to any officers or staff involved with misconduct, abuse, and murder. I am asking you to create this commission to give your community a voice to work collaboratively with this inspector general that you recently hired. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ayers. Okay. Mackenzie Wilson. Following Ms. Wilson will be Courtney Hanson.
Good morning. You guys all got a letter from us. And this is actually serendipitous because we started this letter before Antonio Thomas and the leak of at least 72 human rights violations. I think that's just the tip of an iceberg. Dear Sacramento County Board of Supervisors, my name is Mackenzie Wilson. I'm speaking on behalf of Decarcerate Sacramento. First and foremost, we want to thank you for critically engaging in conversations and decision-making processes related to our jail system over the last few months. On November 5th, your vote determined that the $89 million expansion of Rio Consumnes Correctional Center will no longer move forward as planned. The expansion project, which the board first considered in 2014, would have added 7 new buildings and specialized mental health beds to our CCC jail and would have locked Sacramento County into at least 30 years of significantly higher operating costs and incalculable human costs we incur when we try to incarcerate our way out of social, economic, and public health crises. A broad base of community members, including parents, students, teachers, youth, medical professionals, homeless advocates, nonprofit leaders, and formerly incarcerated people, mobilized their voice, our collective opposition to this project. This coalition would come to be known as Decarcerate Sacramento, and we celebrated your decision to cancel this plan on November 5th. As you know, our coalition determined that the jail expansion was morally and fiscally irresponsible for the following reasons. The majority of people languishing in our jails are pre-trial, meaning they are legally presumed innocent and usually there because they can't afford bail. The majority of people in our jails have diagnosed mental health illnesses or substance use disorders, which are undoubtedly exacerbated by the destabilizing experience of jail. This population often ends up in jail because we don't have community-based care available nor affordable housing in our county. Black people make up 11% of our county, but 37% of our county jail population. Sacramento's incarceration system, like the entire system of mass incarceration, is fundamentally racist and grew out of a history of slavery directly tied to the over-policing and criminalization of this population. The $80 million lease revenue bond from the state, which would have largely funded the construction, required 30-year operation plan that would have locked us into us taxpayers into spending over $600 million by 2051. Sacramento County's jail system recently settled a costly class action lawsuit because of systematic right violations, like the practice of forced long-term isolation for people with severe mental illnesses. The most fail-safe solution to the issues raised in the lawsuit is to significantly reduce the jail population. After what we've recently been talking about, it's no longer as deeply concerned. This is fucking mortified. We are mortified about the rights and well-being of every single person in our jail. And the solution to the suffering and the lawsuits and the revolving door to incarceration, and I'll run it quick. Incarceration is not more of the same. Renovations to buildings will not address the culture of violence and the impunity of those operating the jail, nor will they change the social, economic, and public health conditions that funnel our most vulnerable communities into incarceration. In light of the canceled jail expansion, we have an opportunity to continue redefining public safety together by focusing on solutions to reduce drivers of crime, such as poverty and lack of access to vital community-based health care that are more effective and actually less costly than incarceration. For example, we ask that the Board of Supervisors create buy-in from the necessary stakeholders and develop a comprehensive jail population reduction plan with concrete goals attached to a timeline and meaningful oversight committee. We would also like to see the Board of Supervisors honor the Stepping Up initiative, a resolution that this board signed January 29th of 2019 to reduce the number of people in jail with mental health crisis. Our understanding is that this effort is currently symbolic and lacking committed leadership and an organized plan. Diverting mentally ill folks away from jail must be an urgent priority for the board. This letter is not intended to represent a comprehensive list of our coalition's recommendations for next steps, but we want to highlight the hundreds of residents that have spoken at board meetings, filled out e-comments, and attended town hall-style meetings to voice their opinion over public safety and that it means less incarceration and more housing, social services, and medical and mental health program. Decarcerate Sacramento looks forward to working with y'all and the county leaders in significantly reducing our jail population, shifting our budget priorities towards us, community-based and life-affirming resources that keep us all, not some of us, safe and healthy. Sincerely, Decarcerate Sacramento.
Thank you. Okay, Courtney Hanson. Following Ms. Hanson will be Kean Bliss.
Hey, thank you for your patience. I'll be short. So I'm Courtney Hanson with Decarcerate Sacramento, and here for Antonio Thomas and his family. This is an extremely urgent issue. And I wanted to read a quote from the Sacramento Bee, so we can agree that this is an issue of human rights abuses, and it shouldn't be like highly politically charged. It's a moral responsibility to fix these things. And the Sac Bee thinks so too. They said, basic morality requires us to once again put a harsh spotlight on the rotten way Jones conducts his department. The latest outrage, concealing the violent abuse of inmates by deputies in his jail and allowing the guilty deputies to remain in uniform. We're not talking about the accidental use of force in chaotic situations. We're talking about deputies who deliberately drag helpless inmates out of the sight of surveillance cameras to assault them, or who purposely twist inmates' arms until bones snap, according to an investigation by B reporters who obtained access to secret files detailing this horrific abuse. So the argument behind the expansion plan was that jail is unfortunately a place people can go to begin to access services. If it's also a place that can become a death sentence, how are both of those two things possible at once? We need to take seriously reducing the jail population. It's possible. And that renovated buildings or little Band-Aid fixes will not change this deeply rooted culture. I know there are correctional officers in there that care, but I know for a fact that the vast majority of correctional officers are complicit in these human rights abuses, and we need to be their oversight. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Bliss. Following Kean Bliss will be, excuse this, Asanta Wa?
Santawa.
Santawa, okay.
And it's Keon, by the way.
Sorry.
No worries. So yeah, everybody up here that just spoke before me speaks the truth. And I can't help but constantly feel just frustrated and oftentimes infuriated at how this county board sees fit to just give Scott Jones everything that he ever wants. Like, you talk about how he has effectively, how he just ignores your oversight when he fired the inspector general. You criticize him when he doesn't show up. We criticize him when he doesn't show up. And yet, still, with all the things that he's done, the hundreds of millions of dollars that he has cost Sacramento County taxpayers, you still see fit to give that man a raise. $40 million plus raise. Not only did you give him a raise, but you also gave him his pick for his inspector general. You let him into that negotiating process for whatever reason whatsoever, even though he showed you no respect, no regard for your authority in the whole process. But still you gave it to him. I shouldn't have to tell you all, full-grown adults, well-respected members of the community, that actions speak louder than words. They always will. And in every single action that I've seen from you when it comes to Scott Jones, you have failed. You say great words, especially you, Phil. Really appreciate them. But they they weren't backed with action. You all could have done more. You can do more. You have the power of the purse strings. This isn't a question of what authority you have to hold Scott Jones accountable. He may be an elected official, but you control the power of the purse. You have the will of the people behind him. He's sitting pretty with just 10% of the population that directly supports him. What are you doing? Why are you letting him walk all over you? Why are you continuing to let people die in his care, in that monument of oppression that's sitting just across the street from y'all? I've been in that jail. I've seen the conditions in that jail. They're fucking horrific. I know full well how fucking caked the air vents are in each of the holding cells, which are basically just 16 by 12 feet, and oftentimes have as many as 20 people packed in there. I've talked with people that have been sitting in those cells for 2 days, days on end, when they should have been moved upstairs into a bigger holding area. And I've also seen how soiled and corroded the drinking facility, like the drinking fountains, the water stations, the toilets. It's fucking disgusting. It's inhumane. And it's happening with your consent. You're complicit in that. Everybody that supports Scott Jones is complicit with that. What are you going to do about it? Just going to keep letting it happen? Or are you going to show some backbone and actually walk your talk? Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Santawa?
Hi, my name is Asantawa. I am a co-founder of the Anti-Police Terror Project and also a program coordinator for MH First. It's a community-led mobile mental health crisis response team. But having mental illness is not a crime. Being Black is not a crime. But according to your sheriff's department, the two in combination are punishable by death, because that's what we've seen has happened here with Antonio Thomas. We've sat in front of your jails, my organization has, and received pregnant women with no shoes and didn't have a coat, and it was 40 degrees outside when they were released. We've seen folks who were released who were in the middle of withdrawing from alcohol, which can be fatal, right? Those folks need care and not cuffs. I believe that we have the ability to show the rest of the state that we can center our citizens over our cops. We can center humanity over corporations. We can center ourselves even over y'all's seats, right? We have the room to do it, so let's do it. I would like to cede the rest of my time for everyone who found themselves in your jails and should have been in a hospital, for every person that was murdered by rogue police officers that y'all were complicit in. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Our final off-agenda speaker is Nikki Jones.
You know, we hate to come back at a time when it's too late. You know what I mean? And sadly, you know, we are here in solidarity with the family of Antonio Thomas, and we believe that the Sheriff's Department, in this case, and in every way that they interact with our community, whether that community is in their custody or out on our streets, we believe that they have some goddamn explaining to do. We believe that they lie to you, they lie to us, and they terrorize our people. And they bring people the treatment, the attitude, the culture. We've talked about this so much, and we don't know if you believe us. But that is the problem. The problem, once again, you know, is not going to be how do we make this a better, nicer, bigger jail? How do we provide more services in these places? It's how do we get our loved ones out so they're not at the types of, they're not facing the types of risks that Antonio Thomas faced, that Marshall Miles faced, you know, we could go on, and we read the 55-page report, we hope you did, that speaks to the ongoing criminal, abusive behavior of your sheriff's officers. These deputies are torturing our people, like I said, inside the jail and out on the streets. And the fact that they have that kind of power and authority over us speaks to the importance of coming down with some transparency, speaks to the importance of coming down with some accountability. Where is your Inspector General? Yeah. Where is he? Why isn't he here today to talk to family members, the community? That's his job, right? I read your description. That's his job. He should be here explaining to us what happened to Antonio Thomas. He should be here explaining to us what this sheriff's department is doing to actually offer some type of public safety, to actually build community relations. I don't believe that the sheriff's department has public safety to offer us. I believe they have control, coercion, force, and the power and authority that comes with a gun. And I don't think that's the kind of power and authority that makes us well. There is a type of power that we can have cooperatively that build the kind of systems that keep us safe. And we want to do that. We're here all the time. We're doing that anyways. We're going to be doing that whether y'all help or not. But what we would like to see are our elected officials come through on the side of the people and find some justice for these families. Not what can justice even look like? I don't know. You're gonna have to ask the families. Have you asked the families what is justice for you? That's what we need, and we need you all to do it.
Thank you. Okay, that's the conclusion of off-agenda speakers. Again, I just offer a reminder to folks that we cannot take any action nor have any in-depth discussion about off-agenda items. But with that said, I will let the speakers know that I was well aware in monitoring the social media around Mr. Antonio's circumstance and the effort to have folks show up today and petition your Board of Supervisors. I have had a conversation with our County Council's office so that we don't have to rely necessarily on just local media about the circumstances of Mr. Thomas, and I suspect at some point, whether it's by memo or closed session discussion, we'll have an opportunity to have an in-depth conversation with our county council about that particular individual and his condition. Supervisor Tully.
Yeah, I guess the question I want to pose, and certainly Ms. Jones kind of, she didn't touch on it, she certainly expounded upon it as it relates to the role of the Inspector General, and in my view, I guess I would just say I would share that when we have situations, some of them may be evolving, but nonetheless they involve people that are in the custody of this county in our jail facilities, and I guess I would just ask for some understanding or response as it relates to this case and any other cases. Again, I guess I'll be very clear. I don't know that we have an executed contract with the Inspector General yet, but what be that as it may, is this something that we could make a primary order of work as a part of that person's coming into the contractual situation with this county?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I guess I would just ask that we do that. I think, again, I don't know all the circumstances. I've certainly heard from folks here that relate to this particular case, but that's why we have an Inspector General position, is for folks to have that outlet, certainly come to this board anytime they choose, but I think it's really important.
And just to be clear, and I appreciate your comments, Supervisor Tully, and I agree with them. There was reference made to the new IG's presence here, and I did, just for the record, I did ask our CEO to see what could be done to make sure that that individual was here. Again, not to speak to the item because we can't when it's an off-agenda item, but to at least hear the concerns expressed by speakers. Doesn't mean that he won't eventually be able to do so by way of viewing the tape of this meeting, but I agree with you. I think this is well within the IG's purview to intervene. So with that, next item.
You have your county executive comments and your board comments.
No comments.
Okay. Supervisor Kennedy.
Thank you, Chair. Just wanted to thank county staff for getting back a report back in item number 48 that's in information, the potential plastic bottle ban at the airport. The report was very thoughtful, very balanced, and I look forward to going forward with the recommendations.
Any other members of the board have any comments? Okay, as I mentioned earlier, we do not have an afternoon session today, but we do have closed sessions, so we will adjourn to closed session.
Staying all morning.